thanks for tuning into No Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today we'll be talking about the Spanish wine appellation of Priorat. Now, Priorat is situated in the picturesque foothills of the Montsant Mountains in eastern Spain in the province of Catalonia, and it has a very long and storied history of producing wine. First cultivated by Carthusian monks in the 12th century, the name Priorat actually comes from the monks' place of residence, which was the Priory of Scaladia, and Priory, Priorat, and that's where the name came about. Now, when we look at this particular area, it has been dealt a series of blows in the 700 years since the monks started to produce the wine. And in the 1800s, it probably had its most significant setback. And that's when the Spanish government delegitimized the monks themselves and basically stole their land. And then right after that, the phylloxera louse, if you remember that, that's the one that decimates grapes by eating the roots and also eating the leaves. And of course, then we can't produce grapes. That happened in the late 1800s. And basically, the land sat for almost 70 years unplanted. And then in the 1950s, we had an innovator, actually, that came from France by the name of René Barbier. And René Barbier created a consortium that said this area is too important from a terroir standpoint to not plant grapes and resurrect the tradition of the Carthusian monks. And one of the reasons why he was so drawn to the area was the soil itself. Now, the soil in Priorat is something that the Spanish call yiqueria. And yiqueria is a fancy word for soil that has red and black slate with chips of mica. Now, mica is a reflecting type of mineral. So the mica is there in the soil to reflect light away from the vines and allow them to flourish. And the slate, the red and the black slate, actually provide minerality to the soil itself. So it is a very unique terroir and one that certainly deserved to be preserved. So as Barbier continued to cultivate that area and continued to bring the vines back, Priorat began to get back in touch with its tradition and produce wines of exceptional quality. And that is why today Priorat, along with Rioja, are the only two areas in all of Spain with the prestigious Denominación de Origen Calificada, the DOC designation. So, when we look at wines that come from this area, when we think about other parts of Spain, a lot of the grapes that are planted there are uniquely Spanish. But because this particular region is in the shadow of the Pyrenees Mountains and right across the border from France, a lot of the grapes that are cultivated here are actually French type of grapes. So when we have a Priorat wine, it is a wine that after fermentation has been aged significantly before it's released, and because of that, they're usually dark, big, and bold type of wines. So the wine we're going to taste today is one from a vintner by the name of Clos de los Carzos. And this particular wine is a blend of Garnacha, which in France we would call Grenache, Syrah, and Carignan. So those three grapes come together to form this particular blend. So let's go ahead and take a look at the wine itself. When we look at it, it is deep, dark in color, and you actually can't see through it. It's very opaque, but yet clear. There's no sediment in the wine. If we swirl it to get some of the aromas liberated, we notice aromas of spicy, mature fruit. So we're smelling things like plums and raisins with a little bit of pepper, cinnamon, black pepper, cinnamon, maybe even a little bit of cardamom. Now, across the palate, this particular wine comes across with flavors of crushed blackberry, a little bit of cassis, which is black currant, and a very, very spicy persona. In the background, you can feel the black peppercorn flavors in the back, and it's probably getting that from the Syrah content in the wine itself. On the finish, it's very tannic, very full-bodied, and very satisfying. A wine like this is perfectly paired with stronger meats, things like wild game, things like goat. Maybe a steak would be a beautiful pairing with a Priorat wine. So, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this Priorat. So that's all the time we have today, so please tune in next time, and soon you'll know wine in no time.